We are live.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. How was your weekend? Long weekend for some people, right? Labor Day weekend. Some people went away, some people did not. So hopefully you had a beautiful weekend. How about you, Gladiator Guru? Did you have a wonderful weekend?
I did. I was home the whole weekend.
Was as
We are live. Huh?
I was as well, absolutely. And I think sometimes that's like I got a lot of cleaning done and organizing, so that was good. So I'm like getting ahead of myself. We're doing our chit chat, but good morning, everyone. Welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. My name is Lori Monaco. I'm with Align Yourself Inc. I am a life coach specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. I'm a speaker, and I'm also a holistic practitioner. And I am coming to you from Southern Connecticut. So good morning. I'm also known as Badass Buddha.
Yes. Good morning, mi gente. I am La Margarita, spiritual and creative healing life coach, writer, author, pain in the ass, coming to you from Sunshine State, Florida. And I am your gladiator guru. And welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
Yes. Good morning. With the birds in the background. I love it. It's one of these days she's going to admit that it was like one of those sound recordings and she just plays it every
It is a beautiful sound.
So how was your weekend? So did you get a lot done this weekend? Did you do anything exciting?
My weekend started Saturday morning assisting my granddaughter with doing research for her college entrance essay.
So fantastic.
I know. So
she's
that was
senior this year, right? She's a
correct.
So she's really jumping on it. Wow, good for her.
Yes. She wants to go. She's gonna choose one in the state of Florida, but so yeah. Great morning, Lillian. And then I really didn't do a lot of organizing this weekend. I was like, let me get other stuff out the way. So I did some writing. I did some painting. I did empty a bin. And then I rearranged some stuff last week. And then this week I ran into a scrapbook. So that was wonderful. You know, little reminders of gratitude. That's it. And just really just did a lot of research because my granddaughter was over Saturday and Sunday. So it was pretty cool. Yesterday I just chilled.
And you made a video. You made a gratitude video, right?
I made a gratitude video. I made a gratitude live at 1:30 in the morning.
So for those of you that follow her, you would have seen that it happened. I get on my phone and it alerts me, gets me the notifications. I look at the time, I'm like 1:30. It was like 1:35 too, wasn't it? It wasn't even like one. It was 1:35 or something like that. I was like, damn.
Because I can be impulsive like that. I don't.
It's okay.
And sometimes they come out better than when you're planning one. And what am I going to talk about? It just like came out. It was just a conversation, and that was good. So then I woke up the next day filled with more gratitude, and that's when I did the 7 things I'm grateful for yesterday, which are all about my gratitude stuff. And then I did a Viva video inviting speakers for our Thursday shows.
Yes.
And it ended with being part of growth, of change, one show at a time, because that's what it's about. Then yesterday, mid-afternoon, I decided I wanted to go visit with Eric and sit at the cemetery. And then I walked from the back porch to the living room, and it was like downpouring. So that's to be continued. But yeah, it was a good weekend. God. It was you know why it's a good weekend? Because I love being home. And really, there's so much to do. I have so much that I'm working on. So thank you for asking. You?
Well, one thing I want to say before I go to me is that doing a video at 1:35, just remember that somebody's awake. There's
Oh yeah.
somebody in the world, because your reach is worldwide. So somebody will be listening. It's just like what people say, it's 5 o'clock somewhere to have a drink, you know, it's morning and midday somewhere in the world, and they could listen to you. So listen, you're good. And if it's inspiring you, my gosh, just do it, you know.
I'm always good. Even when I'm bad, I'm good. What you talking
That's true. That's very true. Weekend, you know what's funny? I had a set of things that I was supposed to do. Well, I had a list of stuff to do. I got to the more physical stuff, which I'm happy about because my kids start school today. And so there was a lot of planning and preparation for that. And we still don't really kind of know how the hell to do this and what's going on. So I had to create like multiple workspaces in the house. I had to make sure that I had the Wi-Fi was working properly and can be reached in multiple areas of the house because we were having trouble all summer. And so that was, you know, it's very time consuming, especially when you sort of cluttered things a bit. I go into stages where I'm pretty good and then I get cluttered and then it takes like a couple of days to declutter. And then it's so fabulous after that when it's like, you know when you clean a room and you just and I know you've had to have done this. You're cleaning a room and you just stand back just to look at the room. You clean to admire it. You're like, oh, and if somebody walked in and said, "What do you do?" It's like, nothing. I'm just enjoying this moment because there's a possibility that it might not last for very long. So I did that, but I got, you know, down behind on a lot of stuff that I needed to get done. So that's going to be this week is just playing catch up while my kids are starting school. So it's going to be a little bit of a stressful week. I have an expectation. I'm expecting the unexpected, but I'm preparing in case it is going to be stressful. So that's why we're going to set some really good intentions for today.
Listen, when I'm cleaning something, I'm wearing everything, I'm fine. So if I find 50 hair clips, you see them all in my hair. If I find a travel pillow, it's around my neck. There's clip-ons here and there. So that's me. If I find like a little turban, it's on. And then after I'm cleaning, I'm like, fuck, now I got to put everything away. Where am I going to fit this at now? So it's, you know what? I enjoy it. You know what? The reason we are the way we are is because at some point, I'm okay with that. And I say I want to purge, and then I'll purge it into another box. Well, I'll get rid of this later.
Okay, so I was talking to a client about that. Oh my God, I have like something in my eye and it's driving me crazy. So she was overwhelmed because she had so much stuff in her bedroom and office, and then she's selling a house, her old house, and she moved even more stuff over. She's like, you know, it's a lot. And I said, you just have to do it one step at a time. And I'm really a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of getting one empty box, like finding one somewhere, even if you have to buy it or you know, something. And then going through stuff and moving it into the one box, as long as you know that if you're moving from one box to another, that something has to disappear, right? You have to either throw something out, you have to put it in a bag to send to Goodwill or sell it, whatever you want to do. But each box and bin gets less and less. So if you start off with 10 bins and you have one extra bin that's empty, and then you take 2 of the bins and you condense it into one bin. And then you keep doing the same. And you do it over a period of time, so it's not so overwhelming, unless you don't have the space. You know, I know you're a little tight on space for certain reasons, you know, so it's a little, you know, your house would be so empty if you weren't tight on space.
Yeah, but I hold on more to like when I was emptying the bin, I found a journal that I had given Eric when we first moved in together in April of 2009. And I found it, and when I gave it to him, it's like this, you know, very masculine, beigey brown leather journal. And we went for a walk, and I found a real huge feather, and it's still in there. He had put a picture of he and I in the book, and he only, besides me autographing it, like when I handed it to him, he wrote 1 page only. And so then you sit down, there's 30 minutes lost now because you're sitting down reading this, you're, walking down memory lane to when you bought it and gave it. So a lot of the stuff I'm holding on to are pictures and picture frames that I can't put around my house anymore. And a lot of journals and poetry that I have written on several sheets of paper, napkins, whatever you want. So that's what I have to condense again, but at least the 2 huge bins are no longer there. But I want to give a shout out to Marilise Rodriguez. She said, love you guys, have to go to work. Sorry, I'll miss it.
Oh.
So yeah.
Put a little earpiece in and just sneak us on in the background. Stephanie's on too. Good morning, Stephanie Nieves. And
Hi.
I don't have a lot of people on the Viva show. I shared a couple of times, so there doesn't seem to be a lot on, and probably understandably so. I'm sure a lot of people, their kids started school or they've had a shift in work. And for those of you that are watching after the fact, it's fine. We don't mind if you're watching at all later in the day, because we just want you to watch, period. The information is really good, and actually it's not really good, it's fabulous. And especially with us setting the intentions and creating a mantra, just because you don't start with the day with the intention, you can set an intention anytime throughout your day. And so we're encouraging you to do that. For those that are watching live, make sure that you share us, make sure that you set a watch party so that you could spread the information. Because for those of you that watched last week's episode, especially both days, but especially Thursday, with some fantastic information. And this week, we're going to do the same thing. We're talking about toxic relationships, part 1 and part 2. And it is coinciding completely with last week's, a conversation on red flags. And again, while we're at the Gladiator Guru had said, we're looking for, we don't have anybody for Thursday's conversation. So if you are a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or if you just have an advanced understanding of human behavior, we would love to have you on the show, because we're going to be talking about toxic relationships today and on Thursday. And we want people who have an understanding of especially narcissistic behavior, enabling behaviors, those kind of things, so that we can really get down and dirty on toxic relationships, recognizing them. We're going to start with that conversation today, but then also what you can do about them. And that is why I opted to create the intention that I did for today. So you want to go ahead and do that?
Go ahead.
Guru? Okay. So today's intention, and this is really close to my heart because it's some stuff that I'm going through personally as well. So today's intention is, and if you want to close your eyes, it's fine. If you're driving, please don't. And today's intention is to gain strength and courage of mind, body, and spirit, and to bring joy into your heart. So when you say it, you say, today I'd like to, I wish to gain strength and courage of mind, body, and spirit, and to bring joy to my heart. And what mantra would you like to give?
I like that. My mantra is, I will not hesitate. I will just do what I need to do.
Oh, that's perfect for what we didn't even talk about. Like, she picked her own mantra today, and I picked my own intention, and that works out beautifully. Repeat it again.
I will not hesitate. I will just do what I need to do.
I'm going to get down. Okay. So for those of you that are sitting down, write these things down, because they're really good. And this is something that we really want you to get into the habit of doing, because it's intentions are fantastic to set, holds you, and then when you put it out there, it helps you hold yourself accountable. So other, ways that you can hold on to the intentions, write it down, post it somewhere you can see it throughout your day, put it on your phone so it sets as a reminder and it keeps popping up. Record it somewhere, but just remind yourself throughout the day. And what's interesting too, and Gladiator Guru will I know she'll agree with me on this, is that a lot of times when whatever intention you feel that you need to set for the day, like if you wake up in the morning and you say, this is the intention that I need to set for today, you will notice that that plays into your day. So the mantra that Gladiator Guru said, I will not hesitate, I will do what I need to do. You're going to find that something's going to come up where you're going to feel like you want to hesitate. And you're going to, that mantra is going to ring in for you, and it's going to give you help give you the courage and the strength, because that's the intention for today, is being brave and being strong and courageous to do what you need to do. And it could be something small and it could be something big, right? It doesn't really matter. We're not going to put size on it.
It doesn't
matter with intention.
What matters is that you do something that you know going forward is planting those seeds for growth, for your inner child, for your spirit and your soul to come in unity and then come out, and then your physical body reaps the benefits. That's why I like to say, starve your ego and feed your soul, and your body will heal. Because your soul and your spirit, if they are dancing inside with joy and just pure freedom, then guess what? All that weight that your body's been holding on to due to stress, due to anger, due to, insecurities of any kind, that'll start flushing away. If you're that person that gains weight while you're holding on to stress, because that is so true. And, so learn how to starve all the fears that you keep replaying in your brain and listening to, inside your head. Because the minute you talk about it out loud, it loses its power. And feed that spirit. And then it'll take care of your body. So anything is good. Can we give some shout outs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Alan Kowaleski, welcome. Janine, welcome. Lillian, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if he's still on, but Rob Magruder.
Right.
Marilis. Iritza says, good morning, beautiful ladies. Helen Jeffrey.
Good morning, Iritza.
Now, Helen Jeffrey is the one that posted on Facebook a picture of her working from home, and then she took a shot to where on her big screen TV was both our faces. She was watching us from YouTube. So welcome, Helen. Argenis, my beautiful Argenis says good morning. Tiffany, my daughter. Miggy says good morning. Good morning, Miggy. Oh, Connie, my sister. It was her birthday on the 4th, so I'm going to say it on.
Belated birthday, Connie.
Yes. Happy birthday to you. Come on, badass Buddha. Happy birthday. For all the September babies. How's that? For all the September babies. Happy birthday.
And good morning to Karen Marie LeConte. The doc is in the house. So good morning, everybody that's on this morning. Okay, so coffee and mugs, because I got a new mug. Actually, I don't have, it's not new, but again, in the purging process, you find crap that you did, you just put away. And I got this as a gift when I was speaking at a women's group in Bridgeport. And I never took it out of the box, shame on me. But it says, have a very, very, very special day. And the other side, it says, I hope today is a special kind of day, one that's full of smiles and great things all the way. Very Dr. Seussy,
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I saw the sun. I love it. And it's blue inside?
It's blue inside, yeah, no writing or anything like that, but it's like eggshell, like robin's egg blue. And then I'm drinking, I was at BJ's, and you were just talking about this, so I thought of you when I saw this. The fall coffees have come out, right? So the big bag of pumpkin spice, it was Starbucks, which is fine. Not that I don't like Starbucks, but so I got that. And so that's what I'm drinking today. Okay. Guru, your turn.
People get all crazy on the flavors. Okay. I am drinking Cafe Bustelo, coconut milk, monk fruit sugar. I'm starting to adjust to that bit of an aftertaste it does give. And this is my mug. I have two favorite mugs out of all my mugs. And this morning as I'm pouring, I said, I got to start rotating my mugs. And it just says coffee. And it's like a little beehive. And it's a comfort cup, black inside. It's a comfort cup. I love it.
I love it too. I like those beehive cups because I love holding them. Like I'll sit there and I rub on it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. What is coffee for me? Coffee to me is a necessity. I think, and I'm gonna put a disclaimer out there, make a confession, and people probably be like, but guess what? I don't brush my teeth until I have my first cup of coffee. Because to me, I'll rinse my mouth out with the toothbrush with no toothpaste. I'll rinse it out, tongue it off, gargle, spit, and then I drink my coffee. Because to me, my morning cup of coffee does not need to be mixed with any minty flavors of the toothpaste or that chalky taste afterwards. So that's okay.
That's actually perfect. You're saying you brush after your coffee.
After my coffee.
No, that's good because coffee could be very acidic. Actually, that's the proper way to do it. You're supposed to really technically brush after you've eaten.
After.
And if you don't eat breakfast and you just have coffee, that's when you're supposed to do it. So you're good. You're good.
And
Santu, good morning, Janet.
Yeah, so coffee to me is that first breath in the morning. It is that waterfall of emotions when you hear that one song that takes you back to like the most intimate memory with someone your heart was just so in love with. It's not even thinking about that person or what you did, but that morning cup of coffee can bring you there where you feel like you time traveled back to that same spot doing the same thing. It's music. It's the birds chirping. Café es vida. Point blank period. That's what coffee is.
I tell you, I never dull of hearing you describe that. Like it's always different. It's always exciting. It's so poetic. And I've got to say that my love affair for coffee has definitely increased doing this show with you because you make it so joyful, right? I mean, please shout out on a comment if Margie's description of how coffee makes her feel has increased your love of coffee, because it's definitely done so for me. I mean, there's moments where I sit there and pause for a moment and go, am I having an orgasm?
Listen, you have to appreciate like moments like this with coffee. I think that my first cup of coffee, I put so much onto how my coffee makes me feel because that is my me time. And other than Tuesday and Thursdays that I share those orgasmic moments with you, I like to sit and have my coffee by myself in silence because it just, so the Taza de Café challenge is still on. Please don't put a time limit on what we're doing. We are going to put it out, meaning about a time limit. I didn't want to sound rude. It's coming. It's coming.
We're still putting the pieces together and figuring things out.
I think we finally settled on a logo style, right? The other day. Okay, so it's chosen. Now I gotta take my ass to my son-in-law Henny, and then everything will start getting weeded and cut and all that. So it's coming, and then you'll see some samples because we haven't forgotten. So Taza de Café challenge is still up. Take a selfie. Put it on the Viva Cafe con Leche Instagram page or Facebook page. If you haven't already, and every time you say, oh, I'm going to do it as soon as I'm done, if you can do it, go to YouTube, Viva Cafe con Leche, and subscribe.
Please.
Yeah, just subscribe.
I think we have like 7 subscribers.
No, I think it's up to 13. I've been making some phone calls because I'm not playing.
Yes.
I think that, the way that we grow in whatever endeavors we have going on, mi gente, is by uplifting others. So if we do that, then guess what? It's just a beautiful, what's that wave that the turtles go through when they're going through Australia? And that's how it should be.
Oh,
It
on
should
that
be,
stream. Yeah, that stream.
yeah. So that's how we need to be with one another.
Francia subscribed because, good morning, Francia. She's on and she wrote that she subscribed. And, you know, listen, we're going to ask you, please share our videos from Facebook to your Facebook people. And then also put in the post. You could do watch parties while we're live and then share, but you could also share the video afterwards, please. But put in the post to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, because we really, really want to get out there and pump this all up. And really, I mean, we've got some great topics, which reminds us we probably should get to the topic today, because this one's a really good one. And I think we really, you know, need to jump and talk about this, right? So what do you think?
Yes,
here?
I think perfect. Tiffany says that my hair is on point, Mommy, because she's.
Oh, yes. So
finally,
Tiffany, she bragged about that to me yesterday when we had our meeting. She said, oh my God, I finally had to do something, and Tiffany did my hair, and it looks fabulous. It looks absolutely fantastic. So wonderful, wonderful job.
And so I have my daughter, my son-in-law, and my two sisters on. Buenos dias, Janet. Good morning, my beautiful, amazing ladies, she says. Good morning, sister.
And I have none of my family members on.
So I have my big sister and my little sister on. So if you read my book, you read that poem. So we're all on. Good. Okay. Let's talk about our
relationships.
Yes, which is I believe we've all been in one.
Yes, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been in too many to count. And I have to laugh about it because the toxicity levels will vary, right, between who you're dealing with, whether, because toxic relationships could be either friends, they could be your significant other, they could be family members, but they vary, right? And so some of them are just so minimal that you know it's toxic and you just deal with it and you don't care. But the ones that are real detrimental to you and your spirit and your health are the ones that are much more severe. And I've had too many to count, honest to God. And it's you have to have a sense of humor about it. Otherwise, you'll cry every day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the only one I can ever talk about as far as relationship was my ex Sorrel. And for those who know Sorrel, put a thumbs down in the comments. I don't care who's listening. All my family knew them, so I'm sure they're all doing double thumbs down. But yeah, that was toxic.
So Francia wrote, my toxic relationships included myself, and were from self-doubt and fears. Oh yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of reasons. We were talking about this yesterday. The common cause of us getting into bad relationships, and then especially toxic ones, self-worth, low self-worth, self-doubt, but also too that this is a piece that came in with conversation with Gladiator Guru, because she didn't have self-esteem. You didn't have low self-esteem. You said that something happened and you felt like you deserved it because it was payback. You broke somebody else. You felt like you broke somebody else's heart, and then or not so much the wordage, but you made somebody else feel bad, and then it was coming back to bite you.
Yeah, I believe it was my karma for after 13 years making the decision of leaving a stagnant relationship with my son's father, and I left being in love with him. So because there was no change, there was no growth, and here I was from the age of 19, almost 33, and it's still the same thing. So I was like, I'm out. And then I broke his heart as I broke my own doing that. But there was no leeway to go to counseling or to learn new things, to learn about each other all over again. So he was like, no, very stubborn. A very stubborn Puerto Rican, Brooklyn-born man. How's that? And so then I felt that this toxic relationship, as an asshole as he was my karma for hurting such a beautiful man, who he was beautiful and outside of just dealing with me and my crazies and my whims and me, you know. So yeah, that's what it was. But today I can say everything I did was supposed to happen in my life because it made me that badass boss bitch gladiator guru that you have right here, and I make no apologies for it, you know. So Henny and Tiff were the first to say. Henny said can't stand that motherfucker, and Tiffany put like 10 thumbs down. I know Beatty got something to say. Go ahead. So yeah, go ahead. So
Francia wrote, I didn't settle. I am still fighting those demons, but I am in the healthiest relationship with myself romantically and others. Oh, that's beautiful. And that's such great insight. I'm right there with you, Francia. Margie's correct too. It's like everything happens for a reason, and we grow to a certain level, and we learn about ourselves, hopefully. Maybe you have to try, like, you learned on one shot, like you figured it out on that one relationship, and it might have went too long, but nonetheless, it took me multiple relationships with significant others, friends, and even family members, and I'm still dealing with some of these toxic people in my life, but I'm a different person. But I will tell you this though, that even though when you're a little bit more on the outside and you figured things out about yourself. So Francia, you have to be careful about this as you grow and learn about yourself and feel really good about yourself, that these toxic people though have the ability to suck you back down a little bit, maybe not all the way, but they'll suck you back down, and they have a way of draining the energy out of you. And I think that's the biggest challenge with ever dealing with toxic people, is that they know they're energy suckers, they're energy drainers. They suck life out of you because that is their purpose, because they're so miserable truly in their own selves that they've got to do it to other people. And they may not seem on the outside that they're miserable. In fact, they may seem that they are the most together people, that they have it all, but they are absolutely not, because vast majority of them, I would say most people who are toxic, right? You're gonna agree with me on this, Margie, are narcissistic. I would have to say that vast majority of them are. Maybe levels of narcissism, some people are worse than others, but definitely narcissistic in some element.
yes, and I think that as the people in today's time, if you take the time to listen to shows like this, or audio books, or read, or join a meeting for abuse, toxic relationships, you would learn that because a lot of us blame ourselves for being stupid, for staying, for even not noticing, but a lot, you know.
Or we settle. We say, oh, this is how relationships are. Like this
Yeah.
I know other people and this is how their relationship is. Well, because they're in a toxic relationship too. We assume that it's okay for somebody to humiliate you in front of your friends and family. We assume it's okay for somebody to speak very disrespectfully to you, or control you, or try to make you feel guilty. We assume that that's okay, and it really isn't. I mean, honestly, because I think of it this way, right? And it took me a long time to think of it this way. I'm not that person. Like, I'm a nice person. I'm a nice person. I support people. I'm respectful. I am loyal to the T. So why should I expect anything less of the people that I'm in a relationship with, whether it's family, friends, or significant others, right? Should it not, like, so in other words, if I'm bitchy, then they have the right to be bitchy back to me because I'm bitchy. But what I'm saying is that if I'm nice and giving and honest and straightforward and real, I should have a reasonable expectation to receive the same back. Do you agree with that? Or do you?
I agree with that, but you can't blame the other person because you chose them. Not only did you choose to be with them, but after they're treating you less than, we choose to stay. And then we put up
yes.
50 million excuses.
Them.
But I listen to people say a lot of stuff about people, and the other day I had to tell somebody, but it's your fault. And a lot of people don't want to say that. Like when you're with somebody who's positive, when you decide to join a tribe of goal-oriented entrepreneurs, and there's 10 of you, and the 10 of you are reaching 10 different stairwells to success, but you meet in the middle and you encourage each other and you inspire and motivate, right? Everybody wants to be in a tribe like that, because no matter what you're doing different, how different personalities, spirits, dances, music choice, whatever the fuck is different, it's still an inspiration, motivation, inspiring to say, you got this. Aren't you today? Aren't you supposed to do this? But it's the same thing when we stay with somebody in the name of love or comfort, routine.
Yeah, comfort.
Yeah,
the definition of love is not there.
So what happens? You're loyal, they're not, and then every time they say something, you have a sarcastic remark back because you think you're getting the upper hand. Why are you chipping away at your soul when you can just be on your own? It's scary. And start healing what you allowed to be broken in a relationship. Now, I'm all for narcissistic sons of bitches that get the best of you, but I'm also for saying, what are you doing there? Sorry. Iris said, I couldn't stand his butt. Ew. People are responding. But yeah, yes, but people are, in the name of love, we choose poorly. Because we love and we believe that they have that prince in the making, that if we show them what they can do, that they would do it, because we love them. And I think we've all been there.
Well, women, that's what we're good at, is and if we're talking about a women to men relationship, yes, I mean, women, we're just naturally, we boost. Like we like that. We like being able to do that. But I think too, though, you attract what you put out, right? So if you're in a toxic relationship, you have to look back from the very beginning and say, okay, what was it that I put out that attracted this? Because the more clear you are on who you are and what you want and what you don't want in your life, then the more the eyes are wide open. It's just like we were talking about on last week, is you will see the red flags before you actually invest yourself in there, right? You'll see beyond the bullshit. So I wrote a list of what do toxic relationships look like. Whether you're just starting out in a relationship or you've been in one for a while and you're starting to see the light, or maybe you've seen the light even early on, but you chose to ignore those signs. So toxic relationships include an individual who has a lack of support, does not support you. And whether it's financially or mentally, emotionally. Toxic communications. Most of your conversations are not with kindness. They're sarcasm, criticism, and overtly hostile. There's a lot of jealousy in there. So, some jealousy is natural. You can't avoid it. That's just what humans can be.
It is.
But when it's like too much, when it starts to be controlling, and then controlling behaviors. Controlling behaviors is a hotbed one for toxic relationships, right? Resentment, holding on to grudges and letting them fester. And so this could be on both sides, even if the person is much more toxic and you're stuck in it, but you can feel the resentment too, but they can also be very resentful to you. If they're dishonest to you, patterns of disrespect. That's the one that really pisses me off. I cannot stand when people disrespect each other. I don't care how long you've been together. If you don't respect somebody, then there's everything else flows based on that. So like if you decide that I don't respect this person, you won't you won't speak nicely to them. You won't be kind and patient to them. You just don't have it in you. Negative financial behaviors. Your partner might make financial decisions, including big ticket purchasing ticket items without consulting you. Constant stress. If your relationship you feel is constantly stressful, that if it's a friend and you're fine when you're not with them, and then when they call, you look down at your phone and you just don't even want to pick up, that's not a good sign. If it's the same thing with your significant other, if you're happy when you're away from them and then when they're back home, it stresses you out, that's not a good sign. Ignoring your needs. Again, partners friends, when it's all about them and they very, very rarely throw you anything to do anything that you want to do or whatever. Lost relationships. You spend time with friends and family either to avoid conflict with your partner or to get around having to explain what's happening in your relationship. So you stop spending time. See, all of these I could pretty much check off because you know that they know things are not right. And so you either see them very minimally or you avoid them. And when they start to bring up the conversation, you cut it off. Lack of self-care, you give up on yourself. You don't want to try anymore because you don't feel good about yourself. You're hoping for change. That every day that you get up, you want something different. Walking on eggshells because you do not want to provoke any tension. Let me tell you that all of those things are very exhausting. And when you're in relationships like that, it's very exhausting. It takes away from your spirit. It takes away from your creativity, the ability for you to be who you are and for the world to see that. And as a result, we don't get a chance to. And again, I mean, I got to include myself on this because I've done this numerous times. I still struggle with some of these things even still because I still, like I said, have toxic people around me. Anything you want to add to it?
I think that when we go through life and then we forget some of our own toxicity, I think that before we can make a list of toxic relationships we've been in, make a list about all your toxic traits.
You could do both.
I need them to do both, but first I need them to identify with what some of the things they have carried, and maybe because they didn't deal with that after they ended a toxic relationship, might still be an underlying obstacle when the person they're with now or somebody they're with now upsets them, and then all of that comes forward and they're, being hurtful with their words or storming out or shutting down, because those are toxic traits too in a relationship. When you don't have a clear two-way street of communication, it's toxic, because without that the back and forth lane of communication, then you're not understanding each other. So what parts of you are toxic that you need to work on? And I think we all can do that. And I can tell you, and for those who really know me will know that from the time that Eric passed away to me returning from Spain, I have done a 360 because I chose to recognize. And now I'm still a bitch. If you piss me off, I will still rip your throat out. But the thing is that I've learned to control the toxic rage that I always carried, because that toxic rage was fueled by all my past hurts and traumas and dramas and chaoses.
Yeah.
So I think that if we put ourselves on paper, we're going to be quite like, oh shit, I did carry this. Because it's so easy to say, he made me so upset that I did this. But why did what he say upset you so much?
Right, exactly. That's a good point. In fact, if I can just interject, and I also want to do a shout out. Good morning, Tiffany, Brian. I'm glad you're here. So Margie's absolutely right. We have to be accountable for our part. It's not just one-sided. However, we do know that there are individuals out there that are horrible, especially narcissistic individuals. And so vast majority of everything is their fault in the relationship. And you get triggered by it sometimes. So sometimes the way you respond or react really is because of what they're saying or what they're doing or how they're acting. But if it helps, as you make the list about yourself, like what are the toxic things about you that need to change, as you make the list and you run out of things or you can't think of something, then make the list of your toxic relationships, the people that were toxic to you and how they were toxic. And then from there, go back to your list and say, okay, they did this, this, and this, and how did I react when they did this? And did I do anything to provoke any of that? Because sometimes too we can bring out the worst in people because who we are. you know, and we have to be able to recognize that some people just don't mix. They're like oil and water. And even if a person seems to appear to be narcissistic, they may not really be like that necessarily. But we kind of trigger it, you know, we bring it out, and we have to recognize those behaviors.
Absolutely.
The only thing that can change is us. But as we grow and understand ourselves better, we'll also understand the relationship better. And at some point, you have to come to a crossroads and either end the relationship or put the conversation out there that says we both need, you know, help. We need to go seek help. We want to continue this relationship. Or, you know, you need to go. Like, that's it. It's done. It's either going to be there or it's not going to be there. But if you grow and change, you cannot keep growing if you stay in it without some sort of change on the other person's part as well.
Yeah, and if you are 6 relationships in and you're looking back saying, oh my God, how did I get involved with all these toxic people? Bitch, look in the mirror, because it's you. You're the weakest link. Because if you continue to fall into relationships and you're looking back and there are like 5 or 6 of them, it's you. And whether it's you allowing somebody to step all over you, shame on you, or it's you provoking them with your insecurities. You come out to be a victim, then you want to be a victim about it. I've met many people across the board. I don't have no shame. If you're offended, oh well, because the truth isn't pretty and it hurts. But sometimes I look back and I'm like, I think I started that one off.
Yeah.
And I think that to love yourself and to walk around and expect people to love and respect you, you have to do the work within you. You have to say, what is it about me that makes people angry? Or is my defense mechanism that negative that if somebody says something, I'm like, oh, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say this and this about me? Now, there's a thin line between saying, let me show you some proof about that. I think Lori and I had that about the cursing. And she goes, oh, I felt you got defensive. I said, no, I didn't get defensive. I was just thinking, what's the site that I came up that said that? And so people just look at yourself and go back. And if you're in this part of the relationship, if you have to replay the movie and try to see in full HD color those red flags that were just like it was a windy fucking day in your face about the partner you're choosing, go back, take notes, and then when you have to make the decision today, after you went from the red flag relationships to a toxic relationship, it'll be easier. Iris said, I think toxic people doesn't always have to be a mate. It can be family. Yeah, Lori said that in the beginning.
Totally. Yeah. Yes.
So I want to say that it takes an average of 7 attempts to leave an abusive relationship, whether you're the abuser or the abused. I was always, 2 very important men in my life called me the abuser. And I was like, whoo, I own that shit. So before anybody hits me, I'm that. But it says, so it takes an average of 7 attempts to leave an abusive relationship before ending the relationship permanently. So don't give up. It's always just around the corner. I know. So I'm sorry, Lori, badass Buddha seems kind of quiet right now, but I'm just saying, you know what the reality of any self-help is? To first find out what you need to remove and how you need to heal before you enter another relationship. Because if you're still broken and you're seeking love and acceptance and I just need to be held, but you're bringing all that shit with you into the next, what are you going to expect? That could be the nicest person, and you're bringing all this toxicity with you. So do the work. Do the inquire within and do that work and write the list like Lori and I just said, badass Buddha. I'm sorry because I love that name. Make the list of what are your toxic traits or what has gone wrong, and then make the list of theirs, and then make your decision.
And because your behavior too is going to be the key piece to this, you know. So in my first marriage, I should have never married the guy. He should have just been a fling, and I should have never got involved with him. Should have, could have, would have. But seriously, the red flags were left and right all over the place, and I saw them and chose to ignore them because I thought he would change. I thought I would, he would pick me, like all this ridiculous, young, stupid, insecure, inexperienced individual. So I remember that I had a friend of mine that I used to work with while I was going to chiropractic school, and I would wait tables. And I remember almost every moment that I was around her, all I did was complain about my marriage, complain about how much I couldn't stand him, how much I just wanted to be out. And then one day she said to me, God, just go then. Like, just go. Like, if you're just talking about it, just go already. If you're that miserable. And it jolted me for just a moment. And then I still got, because I wasn't, all I wanted to do was complain. That's all I was willing to do at that moment in time, is to just complain. Anybody who listens to me, and it was other friends, it was family members, certain family members, but I took no action whatsoever, nothing. And because I was at that stage of myself that I just wanted the pity. I wanted people to say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for you. It must be so tough. To feed into that victim mode that I was in. And that victim mode stayed with me for many, many years, although not that bad. You know, I learned not to complain as much, to say, okay, you know what, there's no point. And I've gotten to the point where I'll hear clients do that sometimes. And I'll say to them, if you're going to complain, then just get out. If you're going to stay in and figure it out, then just shut it, because there's no point in saying it over and over again. And with what Gladiator Guru was saying about if you're going to stay or you're going to go. So there's another piece that I had was, can the relationship be saved? And this is the criteria that they mention. If both of you are willing to invest in the relationship, that's a big piece. If it's just you and not the other person keeps saying, no, there's nothing wrong, I'm fine, it's not me, it's you, then that's not good. Acceptance of responsibility. So this is exactly what Guru was saying. You have to be responsible for your part. Shift from blaming to understanding. So don't blame each other or yourself or them. You have to understand it. Openness to outside help. And then how can we move forward? Don't dwell on the past. View your partner with compassion. Start therapy. And that's a lot for you too. Find support, practice healthy communication, be accountable, heal individually, and hold space for others' change. Now, let me tell you something. When you're with somebody who's very narcissistic, holding space for them to change there's going to be an empty space there sitting there. Healthy communication is not going to be possible. They will not be accountable for their actions. You're going to heal, and you're going to practice that on yourself. Don't expect them to heal, and don't be responsible for their healing. And viewing your partner with compassion can be very, very hard when you're with somebody who's narcissistic. But it is not for their growth, it is for your growth. That's what it's all about. It's not about their healing, it's about your healing. And it does take time, and it takes a lot of effort depending on how deeply ingrained you are. And you will have your good days and you'll have your bad days.
I agree to some extent with what you're saying. I firmly believe that when we realize we're in a toxic relationship and our partner is a narcissist, which makes us become more introverted, I think enough with excuses. And it's a hard approach, just like when you quit smoking and drinking cold turkey, which I'm trying to do with the smoking. I haven't like gotten far with that, but I'm there. I'm trying.
You'll
The
get there.
effort's in. I think the bottom line for me is learn who the hell you are. And in doing so, acknowledge where you put yourself and allow yourself to get the mistreatment, and then
Right.
self-reflect on what did I contribute to this toxic relationship, and then learn from that. Learn who the hell you are so that you could learn how to identify. Jonathan Pookie wrote something that is an absolute truth, I believe. He says people need to learn egos, shyness, insecurities. You need open minds, and that's something these young ones don't get taught anymore. And selfish people don't show their own friends. Selfish people don't show their own friend. And he put friends in parentheses.
Meaning, okay, say that. So what does he mean by that? Do you know what he means by that? Show their own friends?
Pookie, if you're still on, please express. But it's true. When my granddaughter was here on Saturday, I was talking to her about learning the language of body language. You see, I'm always talking, I'm loud, I'm very expressive. I'll let you know who I am in a heartbeat. What I'm letting you learn, I study body language, I study facial expressions. And then guess what I do? I'm not gonna say, oh, blah, blah. I archive, because when it's time to purge, it's time to purge. And it don't matter what history we have together. Because sometimes little chips at it is what kills the foundation. Them little motherfucking termites are the ones that bring buildings down. Okay? So it's those little chips, those little jabs that people throw that think that I missed it. No, you know what? You didn't hit me with it. I ducked it, but I saved it. And that's what I'm trying to teach my granddaughter. Read body language. Read what the person's not saying. That's how you learn who they are before you get invested in it. He said it again, show their own friends. But Pookie, what do you mean? Like they keep their friends away from the people they're dealing with so their truth doesn't get discovered? Because that's why a lot of men keep their wives isolated. Because they're cowards in the street and want to be like the number one wrestler in the house. He says, I have a great group of friends. I'm considered the asshole of the group. Oh, I'm sure, well, if the name fits, right? Only because I am real and say what needs to be said. I'm definitely not shy, and I would tell you the truth. Why do you think I like you, Pookie? Because you know what? It is what it is. And what is my favorite quote by Kenneth? And life asks death, why do people love me but hate you? And death responded, because you are a beautiful lie and I am the painful truth.
I love that quote.
I'll be that.
Love that quote. And with regards to what Gladiator Guru was saying, with when you're learning who you are and understanding body language and all, reading people, seeing what you're not, what's not noticeable. You know, there are so many YouTube videos that you can go onto YouTube and look up, and they will tell you how to read body language, facial expressions. Some of these are tips from expert people from like FBI who are profilers that could help you learn about if somebody's lying, personality traits. Get to know these things, see where you fall in and fit into those categories as well, but then also learn for yourself, because that is a great skill set to have. I wish I had that skill set years ago when I was younger. It would have made my life so much easier to have read before that. But here's the other piece too, is that if you're just meeting people and you get this feeling, that's the other piece that we don't tend to listen to as women is that intuition, and men have it too, but women always get credit for it, and I know we're short on time, but if you feel this person that you're meeting, you're getting a weird feeling about him and you're feeling hesitant and you feel like this is not the person that you want to be around, feel it, recognize it, and ask it questions, because I can't tell you how many times I have gotten into a relationship with somebody and that is the first encounter that I had, or first few encounters with them, that I did not like them. There's something about them I was uncomfortable with, and sure enough, that's what it ended up coming out to. And it could have been months or years later. So I didn't listen to myself. So I definitely encourage you to do that.
You got to trust your gut. My father taught us, my siblings and I, how to read body language and how to listen to what they were not saying when we lived in Father Panic Village. So that's a trait that I was learned firsthand. And we, you learn and you try to teach your kids, but that's something that my gardener, those are the seeds he planted for us to grow. So I think that if not, I didn't know they had YouTube channels on it, but damn, go on, because
they have YouTube channels on anything.
Yeah, and so I'm saying that's what you have to do. So when Lori, when the badass Buddha asks me, how did you get that insight at such a young age? And I have to attribute it to the lessons my father would taught us how to fight men at a young age, and he would hit us as if we were being attacked. So we had to feel that pain at a young age and learn how to get away from a man's grip. I mean, taught us how to shoot at a young age. He was just, he just filled us with everything we needed to know today. So that's why today, if I can be that asshole as well, I can tell you the truth, and then if you come at me attacking me, oh, you think you know it all? Yeah, bitch, I do. You know, so and then that, and I can feel the rage growing up, but then you have to learn not everybody's where you're at, and I'm okay with that. Pookie says again, with any relationship, even friendly ones, kick those whack ass friends to the curb. You need support and you deserve it, but like you ladies said before, it starts within yourself. Absolutely. So I know we got to go, but yes, yep. Pookie, thank you for joining the conversation.
And
Iris
one
said,
shout out to Zafar. Zafar Ali is watching. Hi, Zafar. Go ahead. Iris said.
Iris said first that her mother had told her ex, "You're no good," and he told my aunt, "She ain't complaining," and she said, and it was true. And then she said, I was always called the complainer. I guess I was. So it was me. LOL. Every relationship is different. All I'm saying is before you go out there and judge somebody or blame somebody, look in the mirror, check, 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 check. If you come out in the clean, then you attack and you demand the respect that you deserve. Yes. You have to do that. But first, you got to do the inventory on yourself.
That's correct. And this conversation will continue on Thursday. With our guests, which we don't know yet. And so again, if you are a psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, counselor, or know human behavior, please feel free to contact us, message us, and be a part of the conversation because we can use you on Thursday, but hopefully we'll have somebody by tomorrow, the latest. And just reminder of the intention and the mantra before we go. So the intention for today is to gain strength and courage of mind, body, and spirit, and to bring joy to my heart. So that's your intention for today.
And the mantra is, I will not hesitate. I will just do what I need to do. Mantra, I will not hesitate, period. I will just do what I need to do. Write it on sticky notes on your bathroom mirror. Just do it. And any last words before your closing? No. Okay, I do. This is a quote that I love. It's a quote that I put in my recent book. And to my beautiful goddesses out there, from the words of Oprah Winfrey, who I admire, turn your wounds into wisdom. Turn all those scars and wounds that you have, and just make sure that the lesson is you have soaked it up like a sponge, and now you're a wisdom-filled woman on any subjects that you have experienced and survived. With that, take it away, Badass Buddha.
Remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Mi gente, breathe in the beauty. Breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye.